Hey y'all, it's me. There's been some new developments lately to where I felt like this would be an appropriate time to finally do another video blog. Some of you who follow the Strange But True Stories channel here on YouTube may have an idea of why I put this together. But for those who aren't sure or happen to find this video by accident, I'll explain here in a sec. At the time of recording, it is currently 8:20 p.m. Mountain Time on May 2nd, 2019. Start off with the big picture. Many of you who currently subscribe to my channel found me through Strange But True Stories. And while I appreciate you all coming my way, I'm glad to be able to try to help some of you that you enjoy what it is that I do. There's been recent developments that I wanted to talk about Hunter. First off, I want to elaborate something because there's some people that still haven't gotten the message, even with the latest revelations. Hunter and I are not the same person. We have never crossed paths. If we did, we didn't know it at the time. I've operated mostly out of the southern Idaho region. This is where I grew up. This is where my family is. And I primarily stayed around here to help keep an eye on my siblings, even though I have been estranged from my father's side of the family. Which in itself is not really much of a loss because they have been having problems with me doing with what I do when I found out that I am more than willing to assist law enforcement, any emergency service personnel of any kind, be it dispatchers, doctors, firemen, what have they. I'm willing to assist them in their investigations and have established some meaningful and worthwhile relationships in the process. The only thing that sucks is because it seems like if the ideas of supernatural abilities happen to have some sort of genetic factor, or if it's not just a weird coincidence, it seems like most of what I'm able to do comes from them. Sorry, I'm just adjusting because my feet are falling asleep in my camera. Just fell over. Sorry about that. Stay. Good boy. So, I wanted to discuss things about Hunter. It seems like he's been portable. He's been mobile over the years. Operated mostly out of St. Louis, but has found himself on the road, which I imagine by now is harder to do with the wife and kids. As far as me, I don't have any kids of my own. I was engaged once to a girl that was pregnant, and I was looking into what it would take to take in that little kid as my own, but unfortunately, fate decided that that wasn't going to happen. And for those of you who know, there's the situation with the little girl, an archangel possibly, introduced to me, claiming that she is my daughter. And there might be an update on that coming soon, but I want to see how it unfolds first, before I mention anything. Another distinct difference that a lot of people don't really seem to pay attention to is the fact that Hunter is older than me. In fact, he's at least in his early 40s by now. I'm only 23. But after this latest release on Strange But True Stories, where Hunter finally came forward about himself, it seems that he and I have much in common. Similar backstories, similar MOs, similar everything nearly. But like I said, despite us never having crossed paths, in fact, it sounds like neither one of us heard about each other until we happened to come across Strange But True Stories. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, or maybe you just like to listen to everything again, I've put together a playlist here on this YouTube channel. I'll try to make sure that there's a link below or in one of these info cards that likes to pop up. Excuse me. To the playlist that is actually set up in chronological order. So maybe it'll give you a rough idea of how things are between us. His latest video, he discussed how he went public when he was 15, retired at 22, but got drawn back in to retire again at 27, but still occasionally helps out. I went public when I was 14. I started researching when I was 9. Even though these things have been happening in my life for as long as I can remember, and it just seemed that it wasn't until I got to that point in my life where it started to click that, wait a sec, not everybody is seeing this. And I'll be honest, it wasn't until I happened to find the first couple Hunter stories on Steve White's page that I knew that there was anybody out there like me. I've tried taking on people to train. I had my own group for a little bit, but all those fell short. Some they couldn't handle, some there was criminal concerns. I operated everything legally, had permission from all my clients to check out the sites, all of that, but I had discovered that they themselves were involved in some certain activities in which could put the operation, myself, themselves, all in danger. Not necessarily from anything supernatural, but it does invite the possibility. Currently, I work alone. It just seems to work out better that way. Because anyone who I've trusted over the years, who seemed like they could actually handle the workload, they got themselves hurt. They got hurt. They found out that this wasn't just sitting around in a dark room hoping for some weird voice to pop out of nowhere. There was a real threat to this. Though rare, it's still there. Like I said, Hunter and I never crossed paths. Though I would very much like to speak with him. I've operated mostly out of the Southern Idaho region. Seems like he's been mobile for the most part. I pretty much just stuck around this area because this is where I grew up. This is where my family is. I don't have a wife and kids of my own, but had to help take care of people. But now that those situations are starting to pass, it's going to be about time for me to move on with my own life. Do more to try to help others, establish myself more, start becoming who it is I'm supposed to be. I'm not exactly sure what that is. But it seems like I'm supposed to go out there and help people. However that may be. Some cases, I find the trouble. Sometimes trouble finds me. Others, I do like my show or any of the other appearances I've done over the years, and it's been enough to get people to realize they ain't going crazy. Because I know how that feels. There was a point where I thought I was going insane. But then I realized I'm just different. It's kicked my ass several times. Part of what's going on with my eye. Why I gotta wear an eye patch for a little bit whenever I'm in bright situations, basically. But I love what I do. Even though for the longest time, I honestly thought I was alone, and I was skeptical of anybody who tried to claim they had anything even close to what I had. Finding out about Hunter was one of the biggest revelations I've had. Realized I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one who could do this. And I want to meet him personally. I don't want to try to bribe him into any story. I don't want to try to make any movies out of it. Just knowing that there's someone else out there like me who can do the things I do. You just gotta see if it's for real. There's some of you clowns out there that think we're liars. Some of you tried to say that I was trying to portray myself as him. No. We're alike, don't get me wrong. But I laid myself out in the open. Yeah, it does put me at risk for trolls and just flat out idiots trying to use every little excuse they can get from the bits and pieces they actually paid attention to try to take me down. But honestly, that's the point when you know that you've actually made it. When you're starting to make a difference and when you're starting to scare the shit out of the assholes who are just looking to destroy. So, speaking of strange but true stories, and speaking of Hunter, if any of you are interested, I've heard that through the grapevine, people who've seen me in action, who I honestly haven't seen or heard from in years, are contemplating coming forward with their own stories about me. And of course, I could spill it all right here, but it doesn't feel right. I can understand how Hunter may feel hesitant to share his own stories. I tried to put together like a online ghost hunting show where I put together videos online of the investigations I've done and things I've found, but after there was a certain case where a woman's life was put in jeopardy because she was being abused by her husband, similar to the one that came forward on Strange Richard Stories. It's not exactly the same. I realized that it just didn't feel right exploiting this type of thing. So, honestly, the approach of me doing occasional video blogs like this, or doing like my radio show where I try to discuss the science, what makes certain things possible, or try to lay the groundwork to where it maybe mainstream science can actually start to prove that these things are real. Or maybe toss in a few of my own ideas based on the things I've seen. It seemed like that was the best way I could potentially help people, because that way, not only are they realizing, yes, there's other people out there seeing these things, yes, they're not crazy, and yes, these things can be explained, because, like I said, other people are witnessing them, and it just maybe puts the thought out there to where they can be a bit more open with their own struggles, whether it's a paranormal incident or they're in an abusive relationship, anything like that. My approach, in a way, not only gives a voice to people who need that inspiration, gives them a reason to be open, to be honest about what is going on. That's my goal. And now, hearing that there's others out there like me, I want to try to establish a network. Not necessarily to where we all drive out together to go chase some things through the woods or anything like that, no. To where we swap information. To where we network, we consult with one another. And maybe, just maybe, make some real progress. Because if enough of us come together, we can possibly make a difference. So, Hunter. Steve White told me your first name. I'm not going to share it here. But if for some reason you see this, if you don't mind, I would like to talk to you. Either shoot me an email, or if you want to try to talk over the phone, we can arrange something. But I just want to know your story, your side of things. Because it seems like you and I have a lot in common. And I'd like to get your opinion on a few things. Your identity will be kept secret. If you want to go through Steve White, I understand. But I would like to discuss a few things with you. Mainly, if you have any idea why the hell these things chose us. You've heard my stories, or at least my big one. You know I'm real. I don't plan on charging anybody. If they feel so compelled, just send any money my way. Yes, I do have a little donation piled up option to where they can help out with my radio show if they so desired, or they can buy a copy of one of my books. It's fine, but I don't expect any compensation. And I will never ask. And like Hunter said in his latest appearance, you do be careful. Because for every one of us who actually tries to help you, there's 100 more, if not 1,000, who are willing to step up to take advantage of you. And honestly, if by any chance, any of you happen to run across them, you let me know. Because we need to get a blacklist together. Because there's some people out there who are just fucking disgraceful. And nothing pisses me off more. Also, I am going to possibly do another one of these videos here soon. I have potentially another possessed item coming into my possession here soon. I am going to inspect it, see if it's anything. I am skeptical of some of the claims, but my own intuition tells me that there's a bit more that I need to look into. And I try to listen whenever that voice peaks up. Because unfortunately, it's usually right. So be sure to stay tuned. You want to see what's real? I'll show you. I'm not going to exploit anybody's weaknesses. I'm not going to exploit anyone who comes into my care. I may use you for case examples on my radio show, but your identity will be kept secret. You have my word on those matters. And Hunter, I know going public may not make you comfortable. Because, yeah, me doing this puts myself at risk, puts my family at risk. And I'll be honest, there's been things that tried to come after us. They didn't make it through, obviously. I made sure of it and made sure damn well they never tried again. If you decide to go forward, do it. People need to know that there's someone out there looking out for them. Heroes exist. People like us exist. I know you probably saw it yourself, but there might be some idiots that think people like us are out of the show's Supernatural. But clearly for everything that's out there, there's going to be people who are looking for answers. It's only human nature to look for these things, to try to understand our world better. I think you and I can agree on that and much more. For the rest of you, stay tuned. Things are about to get interesting. I'll see you next time.